The legendary rarity takes a ton of time and resources, so today I'm going to rank all 11 legendary brawlers from worst to best to help you all make the best decision for who you want to unlock, upgrade, or push next on the 3v3 ladder. The good news is I don't think any legendary brawler dips below a B tier rating. Every brawler in this rarity is a good brawler that can definitely get some wins. First up on the list at number 11 is going to be Leon. I have a ton of fun with Leon. I've mastered him. He was a good time, but I don't think he's at his best right now. He has some pop-off capabilities with his hypercharge and invisibility, but I feel like he needs some kind of buff. Maybe a little bit of extra damage could help him out, but I was pretty 50-50 on whether to put him in this B tier. Went ahead and gave him that nudge because I do feel like he has that pop-off potential, but I don't think it's as easy as it used to be. I think he needs a little bit of extra love, and in 3v3 specifically, there are a lot of better brawlers out there, but I still think he holds his own. At number 10, I've got Spike. Spike has tumbled quite a bit at professional play. He's still a solid brawler. He's good overall, especially at early on trophies, but as you grow in the game and get higher and higher in ladder or in competitive ranked play, he's just not used as much. He is an anti-tank option though, and especially in this meta, that can be very important, so I do think he gets an extra little nudge because of that. His squishiness does catch up to him quite a bit though against those better players. He does ultimately have a hypercharge. He is an anti-tank brawler, so with those two things combined, I do think he deserves to be in this B tier. Ultimately, he has solid range, a good star power, a good gadget. He's good in a lot of categories, just not special or elite maybe in a lot of them, but he's very versatile, good for a ton of maps. You can never really go wrong with the guy. I just think his ceiling has been capped off quite a bit with some of the nerfs and some of the changes that we've gotten. Number 9 is Chester, who feels much better after these balance changes. He's got the RNG factor to him. He's still really fun, but I think these changes have been very positive for him, and he feels like a better brawler overall. He's getting some serious testing in things like pro play, scrims. A lot of pros are kind of interested in this guy to see what he can do. Chester is kind of an RNG anti-tank brawler, and in this meta, I think that helps out a ton with these balance changes he got. I think that boosted him up quite a bit. Might have room to improve a little bit here, but I think as it stands right now, I'm going to put him more in this mid to upper B tier kind of range. Number 8 in the final B tier rated brawler is going to be Crow, a fan favorite. Crow's in as good as a spot as he is now as he has been in a long time, and I honestly debated to nudge him up to an A tier brawler, but I'm gonna stick here with a B plus for now. He's great for base races, and with that hypercharge at a professional level especially, you'll see these guys land perfectly timed supers with that hypercharge for roughly 50% of a heist safe. That is absolutely insane for that game mode. There are also some other maps, I think, especially these bushier ones, where Crow can do well with the visibility, the poison damage, slowing down these tankier brawlers, especially in modes like Brawl Ball. With all the healing at the top of the meta right now too, brawlers like Byron, Kit, Barry, they're running around rampant right now, so having an anti-heal and anti-tank brawler all in one in Crow, I think is actually kind of valuable right now. Crow might be being slept on a little bit. He can get overrun. He doesn't do an insane amount of damage, but I think with the right composition, teammates, and map and mode, he's going to do just fine, which puts me at this B plus tier. I think he does have some conditions to make him good, to bring that value out of him, but nonetheless, he is still a pretty solid brawler on his own right. Next up, we have the A tier brawlers, which are great brawlers that are above average and can be regularly picked for the 3v3 ladder or ranked mode. For number 7, I've got Surge, one of my favorite brawlers. He's just a great brawler overall right now, though. In Brawl Ball, he is especially solid. With all these tanks running around like Frank, Lily, Draco, Surge is going to be able to charge his super up much more quickly, which is often the struggle for a lot of players. At tier 1, he's usually the worst brawler in the game, but as you get to tier 2, then 3, then 4, he becomes a much more powerful option. Anti-tank coverage is huge for the game right now, and Surge is a unique one in what he can do with jumping on the opponents, disrupting shots, and just getting a little more aggressive than maybe some of these other anti-tank control kind of brawler options. I would recommend pushing him on some Brawl Ball maps, especially into matchups like I mentioned before, and he's going to get you a lot of wins. Number 6 is Cordelius, who still hasn't fallen off. It feels like since his release, he is still a very threatening brawler. He can remove any brawler with just one super, regardless if they're in the middle of a super, a hypercharge, whatever it is. Sometimes one Cordelius super is enough to take away an opportunity from the enemy and set your teammates up for success. He's got great gadgets, a passive supercharge, and his hypercharge is basically a free kill if you play it right. In a tanky meta, that also works out super well, like some of these other brawlers that have been in the upper tiers for my videos recently. You gotta learn how to play him a little bit since his shot has such a short range, but once you figure Cordelius out, he is a brawler that can stay with you in low, mid, and high trophy ladder. For number 5, I've got Sandy, who in the previous meta was absolutely insane, but has since since cooled off a little bit. The biggest reason for that, of course, is the nerf that he recently got, and that's going to make it much slower to charge his hypercharge, which is a big feature when he was an S tier, top 5 borderline kind of brawler. That definitely moves him down for me. He still has a bunch of stuns, which is a great gadget for him, but you're more than likely only going to get 1 hypercharge per game, which definitely takes away from him a little bit. He's still in a great spot. He's just less OP now. He's still going to be fantastic for a lot of Brawl Ball maps and things like that. Deserves this A tier rating, but I don't think he's quite an S tier brawler anymore. And our final A tier brawler at number 4 is going to be Amber, a very solid brawler in the game right now. Amber is great in despawnables, mid-range engagements, and also shreds through tanks with just the amount of DPS and range that she has in her kit. While the gadget's not as good as it used to be, I still think it is very good into those things that counter her typically. Those are going to be assassins and throwers. If you get up against the wall or an assassin dives at you, if you activate your gadget at a great time and kind of calculate it just right, you can kind of avoid those bad matchups. She's of course not the hardest to play, which is why I always think she's a great recommendation to newer players, especially in the current state that she's in. It's not the hardest shot in the world to hit. The mechanics aren't at the top tier for the game in terms of learning this brawler, so I think it's a great one for early game players, and as you grow throughout the game, as you get better on ladder, as you get better in rank, this is a brawler that you can still continue to draft or play in a lot of maps. Finally, we have our 3 S tier brawlers who are some of the best in the entire game. Before I dive in, if you find this video helpful or find yourself coming back regularly to watch my videos, it would mean a lot if you considered subscribing and leaving the video with a like. We're very close to getting to 10,000 subscribers, which is a huge goal of mine, and that would help out a ton if you contributed. The first S tier brawler on my list and coming in at number 3 is going to be Draco, who's still a solid brawler despite the nerf he got. I think he's being overshadowed a little bit by the likes of Frank and Lily, who are 2 of the best brawlers in the game right now, but nonetheless, I still think he's a great option for ladder and ranked. His stats are still pretty strong overall, and he has an excellent star power and gadget combination. Being indestructible for multiple seconds is so good for Brawl Stars. Keep pairing him with brawlers that are great support option like Byron, Kit, and Max, who provide either heals or speed, and that's going to allow him to shine the most, especially in a meta like this. I think those kinds of combinations with tank or assassin plus a Max, a Kit, a Byron, whatever support brawler of your choice is going to lead to the most wins, and I think having a Draco on your side is going to lead to more victories than losses in the game. Number 2 is probably one of the most frustrating brawlers that you all play against right now, and that is going to be Kit. He's annoying to face, but when he is on your team, he is so helpful, especially in this meta with the brawlers that we've got at the tippy top. He has an invisibility mechanic, stunning super to get valuable trades or kills, and powers up the top brawlers in this meta. With Frank, Lily, and Draco running rampant in this meta right now, Kit is a perfect pairing for any of those tanky options. He adds an extra dimension to any brawler that he rides alongside. He gives them extra heals, he's indestructible while riding on the backs of any of these brawlers, and he becomes a pseudo thrower that does a solid amount of damage with each hit. He's an absolute insane brawler, and I think has a strong argument to be top 5 overall in the entire game. And finally, the number 1 brawler on this list and the legendary brawler I would invest in unlocking and upgrading the most is going to be Meg. Her range got shortened in these balance changes, but she is even more powerful than she used to be. She's no longer this long range, awkward kind of poke damage, but instead is a medium range menace. She definitely needs some kind of tweak because she's way too strong right now. I don't know if that's the range or the damage or maybe a smidge of both, but nonetheless, she is so darn good at the game right now, and I think a top 3 brawler. Meg is an insane brawler with her HP, damage, 2 lives with her pistol and mecha form, and a high damaging super swing. Meg is a brawler that you can play at low ladder, mid ladder, high ladder. In ranked, she will be banned a ton. There's just so many maps and modes where Meg can work, and why I think she is a strong candidate to be one of the best brawlers in the game and the brawler that I would definitely invest in the most in the legendary category.